It's time. It's time. It's time. It's finally happened. It's finally happened. One of my favorite gadgets that I've picked up over the past few years in the retro gaming scene was Epilogue's GB operator. For anyone who doesn't know what this is a cartridge reader for your computer that works with Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance games. I made a video about this a long time ago. I'll put a card to it over in whichever corner it goes in. But if you're unfamiliar, what this does is you plug this guy into your computer and it allows you to put your Game Boy games into it, and it will, you can either dump the ROM to use in an emulator, you can back up your save from the game to use somewhere else, or just to keep a record of it. And you can also use it to play the cartridges on your computer. It doesn't play the cartridges, it just dumps the ROM and plays them in an emulator and then flashes the save back to the cartridge. But either way, it's just cool that you can have this and play these games. But for the longest time, the Game Boy was all that they've had. Well, now it's not just Game Boy anymore. They announced this a while ago, and it's finally out, finally in hand. And that, my friends, is the Epilogue SN operator. It's the same idea as this one, except instead of Game Boy games, it reads Super Nintendo cartridges. I've been excited about this for a while, so let's stop wasting time. Let's get y'all over here to the desk, and let's discuss the Epilogue SN operator. All right. Let's do it. Now, one thing I've always appreciated about Epilogue is their packaging, because this is just a very, very nice product. This is definitely something that you would see like lined up on a shelf at like a Micro Center or a Best Buy or something. This would fit right in that kind of environment. So they really take pride in their packaging. As you can see, this is a very important thing to note for some people, I'm sure, that it works both with Super Nintendo and Super Famicom. So it's not like you need a specific one for Super Nintendo and one for Super Famicom, and I will be testing it out because I do have both Super Nintendo games and Super Famicom games, so we'll make sure they both work as they're supposed to. But it does work on all three: Windows, Windows, Mac OS, and Linux, which is perfect. I'm a Mac user, so that's what I need. And yeah, let's just get right into it. This is going to be a slightly different unboxing than you would experience yourself. Since I was in the first round of pre-orders, I literally pre-ordered this the day it was available to pre-order. I do have a Founders Edition version here, but I don't know what the packaging is going to look like for the regular edition, but just know that yours will look slightly different than this. We get our very minimal setup guide, which is good. From a user standpoint, this is not a complicated piece of kit, which is great because something like this needs to be simple. I get an Epilogue sticker and a nice, appearingly handwritten card. And I believe it's just printed here, but it's still a nice little touch to get something like this. And then you have the device itself and its USB cord. We'll get to the device in a moment. You just know that it is a very nice braided USB-C cable, just for anybody that is curious, because I know I would be very curious. It is just a USB 2.0 cable, I believe. It works for the purposes here, but it is not a full high-speed data cable, but that's fine. This will work for power and it will work for data transfer. It's just you're not going to get high-speed stuff, and this is not one that you could like use with a capture card, but that's not what this is for. So, and then we have our device. Epilogue definitely has an aesthetic that they're trying for with all of their devices. They really try to hit home with that clear plastic shell, like making sure you can see the circuit board, see all the inner workings, see the cartridge, just see everything about this. And it's a very nice clear acrylic that they use for this housing. And they've definitely got this like clear plastic vibe pretty much down. One thing I do appreciate about this over the GB operator is, as you can see, it's got these little flaps to keep dust from getting down into the cartridge slot and onto the board. And let's just show it in action. As you can see, you can plainly see the cartridge being engaged in there. It's just a very well made and well thought out design. It's got a nice rubberized base on the bottom, so that once it's set down on your desk, it's not going anywhere. As you can tell, it's a fairly minimal unboxing experience. Something like this doesn't need to be complicated. So let's get over to the computer now and let's check out the software and see how this behaves actually on the computer. All right, once you have your operator unboxed and you have your USB cable plugged into your computer, we need to go to our desktop and we need to open up the Playback app. Epilogue's website, you do have, it's very easy to go and find their install Playback. You just pick whichever OS you're using and it'll download the latest version. You'll open up the software, and once it's open, it'll start looking for your operator device. It's the same software you use for the GB operator, so if you plug in your GB operator, it finds it, but the GB operator is not what we're here for. We are here for the SN operator. I just did that to show you that it is, in fact, the same program. All right, Playback has recognized the SN operator, and so then all you need to do is take your cartridge, plug it in. There it is. Sometimes I have found that the operator tends to be just a little bit squirrely. Like it really wants the cartridge to be clean. If it's not clean, it's not going to read it well. But isopropyl alcohol and Q-tips, or you can go the extra mile and use contact cleaner like I do, and it should work just fine. As you can see, it pulls information, it pulls cover art, it pulls ratings, it pulls everything you could need. And the play tab here is, for a lot of people, all you're going to need it for. You are going to need some kind of controller. I have the actual proper Super Nintendo controller here that I like to use for my computer. You hit the start button, it dumps the ROM, it dumps the save, and then it opens up. I actually don't know which emulator core this is. Hold please, I think I can look. Drop your game in here, you hit play, and it pulls it right up and starts playing it. Now, you do have a few different shader options. You have stock, which is just the pixel image. As far as the baked in ones, I personally like the home CRT option. It gives it just a little bit of a curve, like a lot of CRTs generally used to have, and it puts the scan lines over the top of it and softens the colors a little bit. It makes it feel classic, you know? And then you can just full screen that and it takes up your entire screen. And as you can see, this did pull my save file from the cartridge. I started Mario World a while ago. I kind of put it down for a little while, and it allows me to pick right back up where I left off. I don't remember where I was. I don't remember what I was doing. But it is here, and it allows us to keep going. As you can tell, I'm bad at Mario World. My ability to play Mario well is limited to Super Mario 64 and the original Super Mario Brothers on the NES. Crap. But one of the fun things about the SN operator is it doesn't just dump the ROM and your save so you can play it on the computer. It will actually flash the save back to your cartridge. In here, Core Selector. Okay, so it's BSNES. That's the one. I knew I could see it. One of the things about the Playback software is it does have retro achievements enabled, but that's going to depend on the emulator that you're using. So like BSNES here, it looks like it does not support achievements. Whereas SNES 9X does support achievements, but it doesn't autosave to your back to your cartridge. I actually don't know if any of these have both. So you really have to, at the moment at least, you really have your choice of, do you want it to autosave back to the cartridge, or do you want retro achievements active for your playthrough? That's a decision you have to make. I personally like the idea of treating this as a Super Nintendo, so I would like the save to be flashed back to my cartridge at the end of the day. And that autosave is something you can do right here. You can tell it to do this or not to do this, to autosave to the cartridge. And I think that that's a nice touch for what this is trying to do. On the data tab, you have a few options here. You have backup game, upload homebrew, backup save, upload save, and photo gallery. I don't know what photo gallery does. Maybe there's a means to take snapshots somewhere or take screenshots of your game somewhere and it'll save them there. That's a possibility. With official cartridges, you can back up the game, back up the save, or upload a save. So if you have a save of a game that you played on an emulator, you can actually take and do this upload save option to take that save that you played on the emulator and put it onto your cartridge. You have backup save, which lets you take the save off of the cartridge and save it to your desktop. And then you have backup game, which actually rips the ROM off the cartridge and saves it locally to your computer. So you can have legal backups of your games that you can then play in other emulators or on other devices, such as a Miyoo Mini or an Ein Thor or an Analog Pocket. Let's show you those in practice. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to back up my save. We're going to save that to our desktop just so we have somewhere we can access it really easily. That was very fast. I'm going to move it down here so we can easily find it. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to back up the game. We're going to save that to the desktop as well. That one takes a smidgen longer. By a smidgen, I mean like literally half a second. So we're going to put it there. And now let's open up our emulator of choice. On Mac OS, I like OpenEMU. It's just clean. So if you're wanting just to rip your games to play them in your other emulators, as you saw, I just ripped this Super Mario World USA ROM off my cartridge. It pops right into OpenEMU and we can open it right up and play it in our emulator of choice. Why is that not? Well, my controller is not working, but I think it might be because Playback's is using my controller too. So let's... Okay, I don't understand why that's not working, but you see it opened up. You see, that's a problem with OpenEMU. That's not a problem with the ROM. But as you saw, it opened right up. So now what I want to do is I want to show you that it does in fact, that the backup and upload does in fact work. So I'm going to go back into my game from the cartridge. I'm going to erase my Mario data. And so now you see we have 3 fully empty save files. So I'm going to open a save. And now I'm going to just go do something to make a save show up. So that's just going to be like finishing a stage. Oh, I guess I can't save until I get to like finish a castle or a switch. Y'all won't. I'll be here for a minute, but y'all won't know that. Y'all won't have to put up with that. Are you kidding me? I'll say again, guys. I'm bad at Mario. Yeah. There we go. We got a save. So now we, as it says up here, we press escape to exit emulation. Are you sure you want to exit? Yes. Okay. So emulation's done. Let's reload the game just to show you that the save is definitely on the cartridge. See? Mario A 3 saves on the cartridge. So what I want to do now is we're going to take and upload that save data that we got from earlier. It's that simple. It uploads it right away. And now if we go back and start the game again, we should have our save file. .49. This is exactly where we were earlier. And that's the fun thing about something like this, is being able to play your games properly on your computer, but also just being able to update the saves. So if you played these games on an emulator and you want your save to be on an actual cartridge, which is what we talked about last week, then that's something you can do. Or if you are playing the games on an actual cartridge and you're going to go on a trip or something and you have something like a Miyoo Mini Flip and you want to continue the game but you don't want to bring your Super Nintendo with you on vacation, you can just rip the save off of the cartridge, put it on your device to play it, and then whenever you get back from your trip, you can take the save off of your little device and put it back on your cartridge to continue playing on your home console. And just having flexibility like that is the draw and joy of a product like this. And now just to prove what they talked about earlier, I have a Super Nintendo game here. This is Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War. And it fits right into the cartridge slot. And you press it in, same as you would anything. And there it is. So as you can see, it does work with Super Famicom carts just as well as it works with plain old Super Nintendo carts. This is a worldwide product for a worldwide audience. And just as a quick aside, in this playback software, all these different settings and everything, there's a lot of it that's open to customization. I'm going to leave most of this alone because I want close to an authentic experience, but there's a lot of settings that you can tweak to get this exactly how you're wanting it to be. And one other thing of note for this guy, one of the things that these are able to do is give you some level of identification on whether or not you have authentic cartridges. Now granted, none of my cartridges, as far as I'm aware, are fakes, but whenever you drop something in, I have Zombies Ate My Neighbors here. Whenever you drop a cartridge in, and it gives you a read on it. You'll see here in this box it has official cartridge and read only. It has some way of being able to tell that the board is the correct one that it's supposed to be, and it'll give you a readout if it's an official or if it's an unofficial cartridge, and if it's a writable cartridge or not. Any authentic cartridge is not going to be writable. You can get writable Super Nintendo cartridges. That's the same ones that are used for reproductions, and then you can put homebrew games or ROM hacks onto them so you can play them on actual hardware. Now, if this is anything like the GB operator, take this official cartridge read with a bit of a grain of salt. I know that some reproductions have made it past the authenticator on the GB operator, so I wouldn't be surprised if some get past the authenticator on the SN operator. But having said that, I've only ever heard of false positives, as in you have a reproduction that this reads as legitimate, but I've not really ever heard of a false negative. And if it says you have a fake, then chances are pretty likely you have a fake. But if you have any writable cartridges, then you can play around with homebrew and stuff on actual Super Nintendo hardware, and I think that's really cool. I know there was a remake of Mother 1 that just recently got released that I would be tempted to get a writable cartridge and have a physical copy and make a physical copy of that game for myself. That would be pretty cool to have. In case you couldn't tell, I'm a bit of a fan of what Epilogue's trying to do here, making game preservation a priority and giving you the means to keep official, legal backups of all your games and all your saves. I very much appreciate what this team's trying to do, and I'm looking forward to all of the products that they're planning down the line, starting with the operator that just got announced like 4 days ago as of recording this, their 64 operator. I will be day one pre-ordering that, and I'll probably be day one pre-ordering whatever else they come out with in the future, because this is such a good thing in this space, and definitely something that's worthy of support. It's such an important thing that they're trying to do, and I do feel like it's definitely worthy of our support. So I'll leave a link to Epilogue's website down below so you can go buy one for yourself. They have their next round of pre-orders up. With on their website saying that it ships by the end of July. So if this interests you at all, definitely go give this company your support. What they're trying to do is great for this community as a whole. But I think that's all I have to say. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to bringing you even more review talk videos just like this one as the days go on. If you liked the video, make sure to hit that like button, and if you like what I do here, then hit subscribe, because that does help me out a lot. Once again, I want to thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one, y'all.